Hello all and welcome. And in this video, I'd like to talk about a story I just came across, and I'm seeing a lot of these lately, of women essentially taking the tradcon route. Now, I'm not going to get into whether or not these women are just plain old chameleons who haven't really changed their stripes. If any of you have watched me for a long period of time, you know what my view is on people and change. I'll just summarize it real quick. People don't change, generally speaking. There are exceptions to every rule, of course, but by and large, overwhelmingly, people don't change. So, in my opinion, these broads that wrote the carousel and sowed their wild oats and had their cake and tried to eat it too and found out they couldn't, so they decided to go trad, or a bunch of fakes, frauds, phonies. Maybe some of them are real. But regardless, that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is just how obvious the effinest broads are with their true intentions. Because, you know, they're always running around talking about how they don't, it's not about man hate. We don't have any problem with marriage. No, women have the ability to choose. We have no issue with marriage, which we call an oppressive institution. And women getting married, and when those women actually get married, we call them turncoats and slaves and oppressed, implying that the man is an oppressor. But we have no problem with that. Well, I came across an article that proves this wrong, as is almost always the case when any woman, I suppose you could say, changes sides and decides to go the trad route, and she advertises it in any real way. If it goes viral or just gets a moderate amount of coverage, the effinists come out of the woodwork and attack her ceaselessly, of course, proving their whole diatribe about having no problem with marriage a total complete lie. And this is another one of those stories. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it, shall we? And this is from the Daily Mail, one of my favorite rags. Trad wife who quit her optician career? That's so sad. Not that she quit her career, but that she even went to school to become an optician. It's kind of a waste. Now we're short one optician. Oy, oy, oy. To be a stay-at-home wife and serve her husband. Yeah, because that's so evil, as opposed to, I don't know, serving some nameless, faceless corporation or some dude that isn't your husband. And also not serving your kids. It's just some guy paying you and you're a wage slave, as opposed to being in a marriage where you actually have a lot more choices and a lot more freedom, and you're creating meaning and legacy, and you're actually serving your own well-being by serving the needs and desires of your husband and child. But somehow this is preferable. Okay. Somehow a career is preferable to serving your husband. All right, ladies. Yeah. Yeah, serve her husband and children if they have any, and insist it is her duty. Yeah. There's a word that women don't use much, if at all, really, because they have no duties, right? They've been liberated, so they're beholden to none. As a woman, to do all the cooking and cleaning. What's wrong with that? I mean, if she doesn't have a job and he's the sole breadwinner, then that's her job. By the way, when was the last time a woman went and did a man's job, right? The argument works both ways, ladies. I love how women will be like, you know what? I don't need to be doing all this work. When you get home from your 10, 12-hour day at work, in a coal mine, or in the office, doing all that work, typing on all those keys, getting carpal tunnel syndrome, and generally stressing yourself out and burning the candle at both ends, you should do my work too when you get home. Because I've been told, and the narrative has been spread, that me doing very specific kinds of work for a husband is somehow oppression. But working for a nameless, faceless corporation as a wage slave is not. Oh, it's very interesting. Interesting internal consistency to your ideology, ladies. Yeah, you can't, as a woman, I can't cook or clean unless it's just for myself. If I just cook for myself, that's okay. But if I increase the size of the portion so it feeds other people, oh, well, that's oppression. Oh, but, hey, it's not him being oppressed, i.e. him going to work And, me not going into his job and helping him with his duties and his work. And so he's not being oppressed, even though you're not helping out with his work. But you're being oppressed because he doesn't help you out with your work. Funny how one-sided things get when it's to the benefit of women. As she claims critics who say she is oppressed and lazy. Oh, yeah, she's oppressed. See? Yeah. Yeah, the critics come out of the woodwork, huh? And their true agenda comes out. The want, the need, the desire to seem reasonable and somewhat impartial and balanced in your views goes right out the window when somebody dares publicly try to enter the social media space and challenge their ideology in any real way. Yeah, can't do that. So a trad wife, you mean a woman that, wants to say... Notice they don't call men trad husbands when they go to work, right? I find that very interesting. See, because they don't want to stigmatize. They don't want to stigmatize the dude and his duties and his efforts by calling them duties and all that, because then that would put his traditional gender role under the microscope, and then it would call their double standard to light, right? It would bring the double standard to light that people might say, wait a second. We hold men to a traditional gender role, but somehow we don't hold women to a traditional gender role, and somehow that's equality? Then people might start to figure out that the exact same liberation arguments apply to men who are still held to and expected to adhere to their traditional gender roles, but women are not. No, because you see, society, culture, the country, it needs men. It needs men to adhere to their gender roles and get out there and work and produce, and both the public and the private sector, because without men, the whole country would fall apart, right? Just shows you how much women are actually needed in the workplace. Yeah. I mean, they want to get women into the workplace, but not because we need them to boost productivity, but because government and the powers that be wanted to double the tax base, right? That's all that was. Yeah. So she's revealed how she quit her career as an optician. He must make a pretty good living, by the way, because optician, is that a medical doctor that's decided to focus on the healthcare involving eyes? She was probably making a pretty good penny. To stay at home and serve her husband by cooking and cleaning for him as she shrugs off trolls' criticism that she's oppressed. Yeah. She's smart enough to figure out that she's got it made in the shade, and so do women in the past, and just a bunch of fat, ugly, homely broads ruined it for everybody. Those first suffragettes, they were some of the most hideous broads. You couldn't find one attractive woman among them. Men didn't want them, so they got bitter, they got angry, they got salty, so they decided to ruin it for everybody else. Congratulations, corpses! Your misery now has a lot of company. Michaela Herman from Oklahoma spends hours each day cooking. Clean hours cooking. I don't know about that. Man, I cook 2 meals a day. It doesn't take hours. What do you? It's got to be kids too, right? I mean, this guy's not coming home for lunch and dinner, is he? I mean, if you've got young kids at home, what are you doing? You're making a bologna and cheese, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't think she's spending hours cooking, right? I think they're just throwing that in there to try to gratuitously dunk on her role and represent it in a negative light. Oh, if you stay home as a trad wife, you're going to have to spend hours each day cooking. That's a bunch of crap. Cleaning and tending to farm animals. Tending farm animals? Okay. Is her husband a farmer? At home, while husband Samuel Herman, 31, works as a blacksmith, machinery company boss. Blacksmith machinery company. Okay. Interesting. So he owns his own company. So he's doing pretty well. So this option probably isn't available to most people. The 26-year-old homemaker, he's 5 years older, and she's still quite young and fertile. She's a smart broad. She's probably got an above average IQ. Probably quite a bit above average. If she was an optician, if that's a medical doctor, then for sure. No, she's too young to be a... Okay, 26 years old, she wouldn't be a practicing solo practitioner medical doctor. Okay. But still, probably made an okay living. She made the right decision, though. 26. Good on you, honey. Your eggs still have high quality. Still going to have kids that probably have a decent IQs, and you won't have to take care of them until you're 85. So quit her optician role in a big city to move to the countryside and become a full-time housewife after getting married 5 years ago. She got married at 21! Smart broad. Smart chick. Pretty good looking, too. She's got long, long hair. By the way, hair that long takes years and years to grow. She's far more attractive than him. Okay. He's not a blob, though. I mean, he's got a bit of a dad bod, but he's not a fat guy. Right? Maybe a little skinny fat, but he's not fat. And he has his own business, very successful. And she has no problem being submissive, it seems. Good on them. So, they're going to get a lot of hate. Michaela is the 6th generation of women in her family to stay at home. Wow. Her parents actually raised her right? Okay. Wow, that is rare. Did this guy actually find a unicorn? I mean, look, she's wearing a dress. And it's white. And I'm kind of thinking that might be warranted. She probably has a very low body count. Got married at 21. Well, yeah. Broads these days at 21, a lot of them have, like, super high body counts. It's hard to say, but probably not, considering the path she's chosen to trod. What? Quilt making? What is she, a former Amish broad? Did she grow up Amish? What is this? She's making quilts? Is that like maybe a part-time job? Is she selling them online? You could do pretty good money. Make pretty good money doing that, right? Handmade, household items like that can fetch a pretty penny. It's very interesting. Wow. Okay, yeah, she's a good-looking broad. Yeah. Holy crap! She makes her own preserves? Does she sell those, maybe? If not, wow. I'm surprised the guy's not bigger. He seems to eat pretty good. She knows how to make homemade preserves. Wow. Where'd he find this broad? I mean, I'm too old at this point to be looking, but geez, some of you guys, we need to know where he met this broad. Go check this area out, see if there's more chicks like this one. Holy moly. Dedicated Michaela admits she loves the satisfaction of serving her husband. Yeah. Oh, but she doesn't get the freedom that she would get working for some nameless person who doesn't give a damn about her and makes her work overtime and flex time and weekends and take her work home with her and, so she has no life and no family and no kids. That's freedom, baby! Yeah, serving her husband meals made from homegrown vegetables, butchered meat from their farm. By the way, not everybody can live this life. This sounds idyllic. The vast majority of people really can't afford to live without a dual income household, thanks to women entering the workforce and also thanks to all these illegal and legal aliens entering the country and watering down wages by watering down the labor market. And don't give me this crap about they do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. No, they do jobs that Americans can't do because they water down the market. They reduce the wages so much in those specific areas, like landscaping and such, and, farming by hand, picking fruit and all that, even if an American wanted to do that, they couldn't. Wouldn't pay enough. All right? Butcher beef from their farm and bread made from flour milled at home. They mill their own flour. Holy crap. I guess she does it. Do they have kids? Okay, I don't know. Maybe not. Did I miss that? I mean, that's a good thing, right? Feeding their kids mostly, if not all, unprocessed foods. They might actually grow up to be halfway intelligent, which, of course, the government and the powers that be don't want. God forbid you have enough intellect to think for yourself. But Michaela says she often receives Instagram comments from strangers branding her as oppressed. How dare you lead by example? Other people might follow that example. You're putting women in a precarious position, portraying your life as a positive one for women. It's my life that's the one they ought to be following by example. Oh, really? Yeah. You mean you and your 12 cats and your boxed wine? And the 50 pounds excess fat you're hauling around at 30 and your barren womb? Okay. And the fact that you have to drink yourself to sleep every night and you're sucking down about a box of wine a day, so your liver's going to be shot by 45? Oh, all right. Yeah. Premature aging. Miserable and alone by 50. And then you're one of those old, aged Karens we see on videos all the time. Yelling at somebody because they parked 2 inches further from the curb than they were supposed to. Yeah, they brand her as oppressed and lazy. What are you talking? Oh, she's lazy. Sounds like her job's tougher than yours, ladies. She's hand grinding her own flour and making preservatives and quilts by hand. But says she chose to dedicate her life to being a housewife. Yeah, she's going to be a lot happier than these bros that have a problem with her. The real thing they have a problem with is their envy that they won't acknowledge. This is just copium on their part. I was always looking forward to meeting my husband and becoming a housewife because that's what I've always seen women in my life do. Yeah, this is why they want single mothers, right? They don't want young women to learn from the examples of a happy, intact household and a content mother raising her children. You can only be content if you go out and work for the man and pay taxes. And what I've always wanted to do, Michaela shared. My mom and my husband's mom have done the same thing. Now imagine this is the power of intact families, right? Passing on legacy and tradition and culture and sensible belief systems to their children. Belief systems that are based in solid, objective reality, a philosophy that you can live your life by, which is, of course, why the powers that be hate families and want to destroy them. Yeah, our grandparents have done the same thing. We're probably the 5th or 6th generation of home-making wives. And you will be able to reinvigorate and revive that tradition once the world falls apart and nearly dies. And if the death cult known as Effinism, which is really just cultural Marxism, so Marxism doesn't kill us all, then people like you or your children will be there to pass down this knowledge, hopefully. We had always known that once we got married that my husband was going to be the provider for me and I would be the stay-at-home mom, home wife, and take care of everything around the home, which is not a small job, by the way, especially if you have kids. Michaela, and by the way, geez, she's butchering meat. Does she make butter too by hand? Typical day revolves around getting up fairly early and catering to the farm on their animals. I wonder what time she gets up. I get up at like 5. But I'm like getting old, so I don't know why this happened, but as I get older, I guess to some people I'm old. I guess I'm on old person time now. Get up at 5 in the morning. I wonder if that's going to like advance. Like every decade I'll get up an hour earlier. So by the time I'm 70, I'll be getting up at like 3 a.m. Oh, God. Typical day, getting up early, catering to the farm and their animals. She explained, in the spring and summer, I get out there very early, take care of everything, milk our goats, hay the animals, and work on the garden. Wow. That sounds idyllic. Well, I don't understand. Yeah, this is just jealousy and envy. That's all this is. Right? All these women attack on her. It's jealousy and envy masked by a massive cope. I really wish I could be her, but everything I've been taught, my ideology, makes it impossible for me to admit I'm wrong. And of course, I've got the sunken cost fallacy. I've dumped so much into this belief system and this way of life and this mindset. It's just too much. I'm too well invested now. I can't take my money out now. I'd lose too much. Yeah. Sunken cost fallacy, ladies. Oh, it's going to lead to nothing but misery and ruin. Oh, wow. Wow, she's a good-looking broad. Of course, part of what I find attractive, obviously, is her virtues and the things she values. At the age I am now, I care so much more about virtue and value. That doesn't mean I'd want to have a relationship with a fatty, mind you. But she's a very attractive woman, both physically, and her virtues and her values amplify that physical beauty, something women don't seem to understand. Oh, nice. Even though those are loose jeans, I can tell she's got a nice tuchus. So the content creator documents her life as a housewife. She's creating content about being a housewife. Yes. I'm sure she's not very popular on, I'm sure she's not trending a lot on TikTok, though, since that cancer app is designed to degenerate Western society and thereby only trend things that will do such. This This, no. They're not going to trend this. On social media, where she promotes homemaking to otherwise, but says she often receives hateful comments. Of course you do. Of course you do. They can't handle that you might be happy. I'm miserable working for the man, but I have to portray myself as being happy and content. And I can't admit to myself that I made a mistake, that I got it wrong, because, women and accountability. Yeah. Washing the dishes by hand? Well, she got a dishwasher there. I never got that, by the way. If you got to wash you wash the dishes before you wash the dishes. I see people doing that. It's like, what the hell do you have a dishwasher for? Just wash the dishes by hand. I've seen that a lot. People wash the dishes and then they'll put them in the dishwasher. Why do you have a dishwasher then? Anyway. Okay, so she's got a nice garden. By the way, those of you thinking that you could get your own garden and just live off the grid and rely on yourself for, to provide for all of your nutritional needs, you can't. Farming is a very specialized vocation. There's a lot of science involved, and to do it really well and to produce excess food, meaning more than you need to survive, just producing enough for yourself, requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, and quite a bit of land. And if you don't have a lot of land, maximizing that land to its utmost, which requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, most people don't have that. So, yeah. Not everybody can do this. I also try to cook everything from scratch from my home. So that takes quite a while. Okay, so that's probably what falls into that 2-3 hours of cooking a day. Maybe that includes all of the food prep and the grinding flour and making her own butter. I wouldn't be surprised if she did. It's a lot of work, by the way, which probably explains why she's so thin. But that's an unrealistic body standard she's got there. Apparently not, because she has it. Probably without exercising explicitly, right? She didn't have to, because her whole day is exercise. Yeah, that's great. She continued, my husband comes home, and he has breakfast here. He comes home, so he goes out to work before he eats breakfast. Like, he's out the door so early in the morning, working 2 or 3 hours before he comes home. Wow. Well, of course. He's not stuffing his face with processed foods. She's cooking from scratch food, so he probably has a lot more energy. He's a lot more healthy. He can work longer. He has great diet. So, okay. That doesn't surprise me. Wow. She's dedicated. Think about that, ladies. The more work that you put into something, the more you get out of it. The more that you invest, the more of a return you get. So, breakfast here. He has lunch here. And he comes to... So I guess his business is maybe on the property or nearby. So he does come home for all 3 meals. Wow. Also something that most men couldn't do. Most men can't be the sole provider. We need double income households now for the most part. And also, most men can't come home for all 3 meals. I mean, he eats lunch at work, but how many women are even preparing the dude's lunch for him that he can take with him to work? Like just a sandwich, very, very few, because that's oppressive. My ideology has labeled that oppressive. Did you come up with that on your own, or did your ideology teach you that? Oh, I was taught that, right? Because you can't think critically. If you could think critically, you would realize how arbitrary that is and nonsensical. So she cooks it all from scratch. It usually takes about an hour or more of preparation before he comes home to be ready for when he comes. Oh, wow. More than an hour to prepare each meal? Really? Wow. Damn. I'm liking this broad more and more. You got a sister? I'm too old, right? I'm old enough to be her sister's father. Unless her parents, had that sister about 20 years ago. I definitely feel like it is my duty to serve my husband and for him to be the breadwinner of my house. They each have defined roles. Oh, defined roles are evil, though, right? Unless they're created by the left. Yeah. Those are evil roles, but our roles are the right ones. Even though perception is reality. Okay. But he is such a kind person that he will never be frustrated at me if I'm having a bad day and I'm not able to get food on the table when he walks through the door. Sounds like you do a lot of work, honey. I'd be very understanding. I try to do as much of that as I can because I feel it's my job. It is your job, no matter what the feminazis say, as his wife, to make sure that he comes home to a nice house that has been cleaned. And how much work does that take? You'd have to clean it anyway, right? You're just cleaning up after a second person. But it's not like twice as much cleaning, okay? I mean, in some cases, you okay, get 2 plates to clean instead of 1 plate. But generally speaking, like you need to clean the floor. 2 people walk on it, 1 person walks on it, you're still going to clean the floor. It's not really as much work as this article is trying to paint it as, but it sounds like she goes above and beyond and doesn't indulge in all of the modern day conveniences like processed foods and such. The content creator documents her life. Yeah. Okay, we read that already. Someone commented on one of my videos that I was a trad wife, and I had to Google it because I didn't know what it was, that it was a bad thing or a good thing. Well, it's painted as a bad thing, obviously, right? Yeah. No matter what the feminists say about being totally neutral and not having a problem with women choosing to be housewives, they absolutely do have a problem with it, 100%. I'm definitely a trad wife. Our values are very traditional, and pretty much every video of trad wife things that I saw, I can relate to. Yeah. She might actually not be a chameleon. Most of the so-called trad wives I see, of course, they call themselves that. They know they're that. They see a video on that, and they're older broads, and they've priced themselves out of the market, and they decide to find themselves nice guy, and then they brand themselves trad wives. Those are the chameleons. Sounds like this broad may actually be the real deal. I love it because I get to promote homemaking to other wives who maybe don't have that multiple generational family. They're also homemakers. Oh, wow. Look at that hair. Beautiful hair. Great body. She probably doesn't have to exercise a lick because she's so busy every day providing for him. That's great. Wow. And she actually wears a wedding ring. Even better. And I bet she took his last name. I bet there aren't any hyphenated last names here. They don't really have somebody that they can relate to, which requires the 2 people to have a lot in common, which they do. And I like being that person for them and she likes being the person for other, housewives because it's something I've always grown up knowing that I want to do. It's great. That is great. I've gotten some hateful comments. Yes, we know. It's mostly just comments about being lazy. You ladies out there, you're not digging ditches. I find this so amusing. Almost every job a woman has is low to no physical labor. I mean, even female cops, what are they doing? They're riding around with some big 6'8", 250-pound, built like a brick shithouse dude that if you look at him, you wouldn't dare mess with him. Even the most stalwart, so-called brave manly criminal looks at that cop and he's like, oh, not mess with him. That's the guy that they partner broads with, okay? She just stands there while he handcuffs everybody and then she does the reading of the rights. She's always the backup. She's not the lead. She's doing very little, if any, work. And of course, the vast majority of jobs that women have are office jobs, right? No labor, low labor jobs. This woman's doing physical labor all day. I wouldn't be surprised if she washed her clothes by hand and put it through one of those hand wringers. But you're calling her lazy? Nah, I think you ladies out there are just insecure, all right? This is just projection. You're really the lazy ones, and you see everything she's doing and how she's living her life, and it makes you feel insecure and less than and beneath her, which you are in regards to being an actual woman as you try to be a man and fail miserably. This is just copium. Attacking this lady. And then I sit at home and let my husband take care of everything. Well, he's the breadwinner, yeah. But you take care of everything else, and you make his life possible. And you enrich it to a tremendous degree. And I'm not doing anything that's fulfilling. Oh, God. Yeah. Well, these women don't get it, right? These ladies with their, 18 cats and litter boxes overflowing and, their... little side room there with the washer and the dryer and the shelves of boxed wine above. And no man and no children and their job that once they retire at 62 will leave them with what? But this is really the most fulfilled I have ever felt because it's all I ever wanted to do. Yep, there you go. People think I'm oppressed, but I'm definitely not. How is she oppressed? I really don't understand that. That's obviously an ideological talking point. Explain to me, ladies, how you are more oppressed serving the needs and desires of your husband, which, by the way, also works to reciprocally fulfill your wants and needs and desires because you're both a team, and in helping and serving him, you're helping and serving yourself and your own well-being. How is that oppression when you ladies that are calling her oppressed go to an office every day, you're a nameless, faceless cog in a machine, your boss who pays you doesn't give a good goddamn about you, he'll work you till you die, you're nothing more than a nameless widget, a replaceable widget, and you're nothing more than tax chattel. And the only reason you exist is to cut a man's salary so he cannot afford to have a family where a wife stays at home and passes on the culture and the beliefs and the traditions of a family tradition she learned from her parents and creates a strong family, which used to be the foundation of America. Instead, you don't get to have that experience, but you do get to have some cats that you treat like human beings instead of having kids, and then you die alone. I don't understand how being a wage slave makes you not oppressed. But working with your husband somehow makes you a slave. I chose to have this job. My husband isn't forcing me into serving him in any way. So Michaela and Samuel don't have children. Well, she's only 26, right? So she's still young. I'm sure they'll have children soon, but they hope to expand their family in the future. And she's young enough to do so. Because she got started early, which gave him the opportunity to focus all of his energy on his job, which directly benefits her, I might add. I bet they have a very nice home. I bet whatever she needs, he provides for her, and then some. But she's an unpaid worker. What do you mean unpaid? Car insurance paid, internet paid, electricity paid, water paid, rent paid, clothes provided, vacations paid. Healthcare provided. What are you talking about? Anything she wants, he gets. Oh, but she's not in control of that money. Yeah, looking at how some of you ladies out there spend money, that might be a good thing, okay? That he's in charge of the money. So they don't have children yet. That's something we've been praying about for several years, and we hope that God blesses us with children soon. Huh. Okay. I absolutely cannot wait to become a mom. Awesome. I think it'll be so wonderful to instill these values in my children, which is absolutely positively what the powers that be and the useful idiot shills out there don't want you to do. Although they actually think you're oppressed, but that's just a talking point that the powers that be use to get their useful idiot shills to shame women into not getting married and having kids and staying home with their kids, right? Which would then free up the dude. It would free up the labor in the labor market and the dude to go out and be able to get a job that would pay enough for him to be the sole breadwinner. Can't have that. Can't have people that are free and able to exercise their authority and power in their home and in culture and in the country in general. God, no. Got to make people dumb and dependent. Yeah. And they'll also, these kids will be able to help with some of the farm things. So these kids will learn real, valuable skills like a strong work ethic and some knowledge about livestock and how to enclose land and increase the value of land and farming, actual useful, practical skills, one of which is a strong work ethic. We will most likely homeschool. I hope so. And do a lot of the traditional homemaking, homeschooling, homesteading type of things, and hopefully have a home birth as well. Wow. Awesome. That is awesome. And that, of course, is what the powers that be don't want you to do. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to be able to be any more independent than is humanly possible for you to be able to survive. They don't want you to be able to raise your kids. They, the state, want to be able to raise your kids so they can teach them to be the next generation of useful idiot tax chattel. They want to keep wages as low as humanly possible and taxes as high as humanly possible. So, people can keep paying that interest on that funny money that we borrow from the Federal Reserve that they just print out of thin air, but they get actual value back in the form of interest to the tune of about $1 trillion a year, which is more or less the income tax paid in America by everybody. On money that's created from nothing. So there you go. So it's essentially a hidden tax. There you go. There you go. TradCon was a growing trend that is, I will admit, mostly populated by former carousel riding broads who now want to virtue signal and be, pick me, I've got these wonderful traditional qualities, girls. And they're mostly chameleons, and you're going to be very, very disappointed when you actually get with them. But there are some, I guess. Not many. I mean, this chick mills her own flour, makes her own preserves, makes handmade quilts, makes all her food from scratch, zero processed foods, it seems. So, I mean, this is like an uber chameleon. You find a broad like this, you better grab onto her and hold tight, okay? Which this guy obviously did. He's a smart guy. I wish there were more women like this. Unfortunately, she's like about as rare as a Yeti, if they actually exist. She's about as rare as rare can be. But let me know what you think. Is she the real thing? Or is she just a chameleon? Is she actually a traditional housewife? Is she what she appears to be? Or is she just a fake, a fraud, like the majority of these women that call themselves tradwives, and is just chameleoning this guy into a bait and switch scenario? Let me know what you think in the comments section. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. It's very easy to just click that little subscribe button there. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified of when a new video drops. You may not actually be told when that happens because YouTube sometimes has an issue with content like mine. So you want to check back regularly. Also, don't forget to follow me on Alt Tech. You will see my Rumble and BitChute addresses above. Well, you'll see that I'm on those two platforms. You just go there, type in The Realist Philosopher, which is what I call myself on those platforms, and follow me there. And don't forget to comment on this video and like. This helps the algorithm be more friendly to me and maybe, hopefully, possibly trend my content more in your trending section. Anyhow, that's all I have to say about this story. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.